Yes, actually.
The issue is I've already talked about why it's easy.
All right. Some of you are finishing up. Those of you that are done, that's good. Those of you that are not, go ahead and get out your binomial chart that we've looked at this week to answer this question here. This is what we've done the last couple of days. Sharpshooter takes 6 shots at a target. She normally hits the target 60% of the time. Find the probability she hits the target exactly 4 times. So, yeah.
I don't have that.
Don't have the chart?
Isn't it?
It's in your formula.
It's in this chart. Do you have this formula sheet?
Yeah.
No. We did this in the notes this week. This is what the videos we did this week were.
You still making your decision? You good? Looks good. What do you remember, Zach? When you was.
Did we get a answer in your chart?
Yes.
What'd you get?
0.311.
0.311. Okay. So everybody's good on how we found that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if I wanted to, let's say, do this same question, but instead of 60, I wanted to use 58. How would we do 58?
Should be the math.
What do you mean by the math?
The formula.
We do the formula, right? So if we use 58, our probability would be 6C 4.584, 1 minus 0.582. So type that in your calculator and see what you get. For those of you that are out earlier this week, this is what we did on Wednesday and Thursday. And 0.29, what is it?
0.299.
All right. Let's pause there. Make sure everybody's with us before we go on to the next part. So, if we go to our calculator, okay? Calculator has this built in. 0.58, or excuse me, our trials is 6, 0.58, p-value is 4, 0.29.
How'd you get to that?
Okay, so, yeah, I'll show you that in a second. So, I'll say, this is going to be a reoccurring theme for like the rest of this year. Is we're going to do something, we're going to use a chart, we're going to use formulas, and then I'll come back later and say, here's how you do it on the calculator really quick. Now, we'll have more time in the future. Once we come back after Christmas, hopefully, we're kind of pushed up against it with Christmas. Normally what we'll do is we'll make you do a quiz where you have to use your chart and formula and you don't get to use your calculator. But we're kind of short on time here, so it makes it a little bit harder. So let's talk about how you can do this on your calculator. Okay? So if you have your calculator, this is under not stat, this is under distribution. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff. A lot of this we never used this year. And instead of going down, that's going to take a lot longer to go down. It's quicker to go up. It's a binomial PDF.
Yeah, so CDF.
You want PDF. I'll show you what CDF is in a second, but that's something totally different, so you got to be careful. Actually, we're going to say PDF for next week. You can do most of what you're doing, okay? So, number of trials, your P, and then your X. So if this was 0.6, paste 0.311, which is the same thing we got here. Now, honestly though, for some of these, if it's something like that, it's just as easy to almost look in the chart. Or consider this one for a second. Let's say I said N is 3, P is 0.4. Fill out that whole chart. To do that on the calculator, what would you have to do? You'd have to go back and do it for 0, do it for 1, do it for 2, do it for 3. What about doing it on the chart? Could you just look at it and just write down the 4 numbers? So, and sometimes some people like this, it's when it's something like that, it's almost quicker to do this than to go into your calculator and type it in. However, if you have something like this with 0.47, can you do that on your chart? 47 is not on your chart. You'd have to do it on the calculator. So we want to understand how to do it on the calculator. But sometimes it is easier, and it's still easier to do this. Or think about if you have one of those problems where, let's go back to here. Let's stay with 58. And I said, what's the probability that it is, 4 or more? And you'd have to figure, or excuse me, 60. Let's get away from the 58 again. Let's stay with 60, so it's in your chart. And I wanted to know, what's the probability it's 4 or more? To do that, you need to do the probability of 4 plus the probability of 5 plus the probability of 6. Do that on your chart. Figure out what that is. I want to show you what CDF does here. So go to your chart. This was 0.31. Find what 5 and 6 is, or use your calculator to do 5 or 6. Either way.
What short?
What's that?
What short?
Binomial PDF.
This one?
Yeah, that's all.
Did anybody find 5?
Yeah, 0.5, or just 1.5?
Just 5.
187.
1.876.
0.047.
0.47. So if you add them up, you get 0.545. Okay. Now, try binomial CDF and see if you get that. Put in, trial 6, probability 4, all the 1 4, all that good stuff. See if you can determine what does CDF do.
Why don't you type that in on your calculator? You just do like 6 on that. Okay.
NPR or NPX.
What's
So
the
for
P?
the X value, you put 4, 5, 6.
Just 4.
4.
So what's the
Probability.
P is your probability 60%.
What'd you get? Yeah.
What'd you get?
0.766?
Do it again with 3, not 4. Okay. How does that compare to this? So, let me show you how this works. This is where you got to be careful. This is one of those things, if it's confusing to you, ignore what I'm about to say and just go with typing it in. For the smart, lazy person that likes a shortcut, the CDF can be helpful, but it can do things if you're not careful, it'll give you wrong answers. Let me show you what I mean here. So, I'm going to look at this one. So, if you don't have, I'm going to get this off my chart and show you how this works. So, I'm on point 4, 3, and I get 0.216, 0.432, 0.288, 0.06. Okay. Make sense?
Yes.
Everybody, if you follow in your chart, or I got that, do it on the calculator, you can get that, right? So, I'm going to go like this so we can see this. And hopefully you can see my calculator over here to kind of see what I'm doing. So if I go, just to kind of show everybody what we're doing here, if I go PDF and I go 3.40, I got that. The same number I got off here, right? Now let's do CDF and watch what happens. Still here. 3.
That's 34.
34. Let's try it again. 3.40. Doesn't do anything.
That's awful peculiar, Mr. Meach.
So let's see what happens
It wasn't 0.
when I put 1 here.
It's not going to be the same.
I don't get 432. What do I get? What happens if I put a 2 here?
It's going to be like
What happens if I put, see if you understand what's happening right now. If I put a 3 there, what should happen? My answer should be 1. What does C stand for? Okay, you're all on the right idea, but the wrong word. Cumulative.
Oh.
Means the same thing. So here's what happens. Here's how this works. And we're going to continue with this on the calculator next week. Nothing I'm talking about right now do you have to know to do your homework that's due Monday for 4-2. If you understand any of this and you have a calculator, your life could be a lot easier in finishing that homework if you know what you're doing. If not, you got to use your chart. Go with the chart, okay? So notice, at 0, when you do C, it's just the 0. When you put 1 in, it's 1 and 0. When you put 2 in, it's 2, 1, and 0. And when you put 3 in, it's 3, 2, 1, 0. So if you do one like this, and you want greater than 4, the cumulative will give you less. So to get your answer, you'd have to end up subtracting from 1. If that made any sense at all, great. You're a little bit ahead of the others. If you're kind of sitting there thinking, I'm not sure what you're going to think, completely ignore your calculator, do everything on the chart, and you'll be good. Homework that's due on Monday?
Yes.
Worksheet 4.2, right? There's 3 sides to it, right? There's 3 pages. Front, back, and the next page. Okay. Yes, if you grab a paper towel so I can come around and spray. Normally we don't have Fridays. So
Just flip it to one.
We'll roll a die.
Or that.
Who wants to pick the number?
I do.
2.
2. Tristan, back of the row picks 2. This is the die I'm rolling. Not 2. So
You could have said even. Everything.
Yeah.
What do you want to see with the last part?
what's the? I'm sorry. Refresh me exactly what that part says.
Less than 1%.
Alright, I got it.
Yeah.
What's the total number, Sam?
Wait, is it point just at 2-sided die?
Oh, you're fine. Just need to be a big crowd last time this.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the number that you wrote?
29?
Did you get how many sides on that?
Which is why
Oh my goodness.
You rolled the 20. Alright, between 2 rows. We're gonna wait for the bell. The bell's just late. It's supposed to stay in the bell even though it's not working.
You can't text them. It's supposed to be secret.
I can't wait. I need it now.
Oh, what did you?
Here, also.
So I was like, whoa.
Well, I need to stop recording though.
Is that, like, that seems right? Because what else would a 2-sided die be?
A 2-sided die.